All right, thanks for staying with us. Grassroots movements are associated with bottom-up rather than top-down decision making and are sometimes considered more natural or spontaneous than more traditional power structures. Now, a grassroots movement is one that uses the people in a given district, region, or community as the basis for a political or economic movement. Grassroots movements and organizations use collective actions from the local level of effect change, or rather to effect change at the local, regional, national, or international level. This movement utilizes a variety of strategies from fundraising and registering voters to simply encouraging political conversations. Goals of specific movement vary and change, but the movements are consistent in their focus on increasing mass participation in politics. Now, these political movements may begin as small and at the local level, but grassroots politics are necessary in shaping progressive politics as they bring public attention to regional political concerns. Now, we can all agree that the full and equitable participation of women in public life is essential to building and sustaining strong, vibrant democracies. When women are not participating in politics, it's less likely that policies will benefit them. Women need to be aware of their voice, participate to bring attention to issues that uniquely affect them, and change attitudes towards gender. So today we're asking, can women in the grassroots rise above money politics? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. All right, so I'll bring in our guest like in a minute, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts quickly because, so money politics generally is very prevalent in the grassroots. Well, I believe that if we're able to change the narrative for women, it can have a massive impact in the way grassroots politics is being done. Women are influencers. They are the ones that would control a lot of things. So imagine if we take them out of that equation of money politics within the grassroots. I believe personally that it's possible to actually kill this money politics or stomach infrastructure kind of politics that we have. But what are your thoughts on, having women, removing them from money politics? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, well, if the possibility is what I'm not sure of, but I definitely agree that women wield a lot of power in the grassroots politics. But sometimes when you don't know that you have that level of power, you probably would not know how to use it. Or even when you know and you don't see the what's the word now? You don't see the pathway to be able to use it properly, then you just settle with what you have. Like, it's almost like what happens for everybody in that space where we sort of feel like it's once in 4 years, let's make all the money we can make now, and then whatever happens up there is not our concern. But even that mindset is not helping anyone, because you realize that you can't even get enough that is taking you for the next 6 months or the next 1 year. And the policies that are being made, the way the country is being run, is also affecting your finances, affecting the future of your unborn children, affecting the opportunities that you could have for yourself. So I think yes, women have got the power. There is a possibility, let me not say it's impossible, for that money politics to go away, but it's really a long shot, right? And it to take one person, two people, it has to be a catalyst movement for it to begin to make sense. It can't just happen once.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, let me hear your thoughts quickly.
I totally agree with Elsie, because they say money is power, money is influence, right? And women have been underestimated for the longest of time, but when you look through history, you see that they're very influential in their own way. However, because of their inability to be financially empowered, I mean, there's a lot of empowerment that needs to go on for women to actually realize how powerful that they can be and how they can bring this power to bring change in whatever communities that they find themselves. So if they have the capacity, if they have the opportunity to be empowered financially, have the opportunity to be empowered knowledge-wise, and their mindsets, I think they have the capacity to actually influence change in whatever communities that they find themselves. They just need the right kind of people to channel them in that direction.
Absolutely. So let me bring in our guest. Haija Moriam Tolani Animashaun is a social activist mobilizing at grassroots level for greater public participation in governance and greater economic opportunities for the underprivileged. With a degree in economics, French and European studies from the University of Buckingham in England, and a master's in strategic and defense studies with international relations from l'École de Haute Internationale, Sorbonne University of Paris. She is a strong advocate of women participation in politics and empowerment, and a member of the civic empowerment group sensitizing, promoting, and educating people on their civic rights and duties. And she has joined us live graciously in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
I practice my French so much. I was going to say you're the French student,
so you should know.
École des Hautes Études Internationales.
Okay,
Hey.
École des Hautes
Études.
You know you have to international.
International. I had practice. But thank you so much for joining us. All right, so I mean, this is a conversation that every time it comes up, I really love to have women. And you know, when your name popped up, you know, based on very strong recommendations, I mean, I am really happy and honored to be having you to have this conversation, because I still strongly believe that women have a lot to do if anything at all will change in this country. It doesn't really lie in the hands of any man. Honestly, we are the real power behind any real change that would happen in the country. But you know what? We're talking money politics and grassroots women, right? And let me first of all hear your thoughts, right, about grassroots. How is that scenario like? Is this something that it's possible for us to start having real engagement with grassroots beyond just what you're offering me, what grinding machine you're giving me, what sewing machine you're giving me, and all of that, that we truly begin to have those engagements that we are entering the minds of those women to say, you know what, your future and the future of your children lies on this vote that you're about to cast?
Let me take you back to history, you know, so that we know why, how our women,
Absolutely.
you know, pre-colonial women, were actually the integral part of the community. They were the decision makers pre-colonial time.
Yes.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely, yes.
So you can imagine what the colonial era did to us and where it took us back rather than forward. And it's on that basis that we had to start fighting after independence or during the colonial time to get our own independence all over again. So that has been a real setback for us. And from what you're saying, when you're saying grassroots and you're talking money politics, I think it's just a small aspect of grassroots. Grassroots it's basically, you know, the level where you have your community, you relate on the street level. You're not relating on the federal level or whatever, or the state level. It's on the street level. That's why we have our local governments. You know, that's the grassroots, and that's everyday people that we see. Your councillors, they are the grassroots. They're the everyday people you see, and that is what. But that is the reason why we don't have a good representation, is because people are not actually interested in the local politics, in the grassroots politics. Do you understand? So when you say, oh, we're talking money politics, it's as if they've been neglected, basically. And we make so much emphasis, and we emphasize on, you know, we are having the presidential election, and the noise about it is just tremendous. But when we are doing your councillor, I'm sure 90%, and I'm not exaggerating, don't even know who their councillors are. Yeah. And that's where we have a problem. And that's why the grassroots feel, you know, very disenfranchised, neglected.
So because, you know, most times when elections are around the corner like this, you see that they go to meet women, market leaders. I mean, the list is endless. Women are actually the decision makers. They decide who eventually gets elected, right? So if you say that don't you think that women actually, they know the power that they wield, even within that grassroots? Do you agree?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the percentage of women who actually do turn up for voting, the 51%, they're the ones who actually vote. But I think we have not instilled it in us to actually understand that power, the value of it. We haven't. Because if we did, we would have a different pattern of doing things and voting. When you look at the political parties generally, what do they tend to just leave for women? Women leader.
Some political parties have men as
women leader. I heard one in the
no, sorry, but that. But no, he was trying. To be honest, wait. He was trying to make a point that you women, you want to do everything we do, so we too we can do. That's just. I think that's what he was trying to prove. But really, when you say
it's almost like a compensational role.
Yes, because when you say youth leader, does this mean he has to be a male?
Yes.
When you see a party secretary, does it say a male? When you see a party vice chairman or party chairperson, it doesn't. But it's just so embedded in us, even us, which and whether we want to be, we the women just automatically we just take it as well. So it's really a process that we need to work on, day in, day out, to get us to understand that we can do far more and better than that.
So I like that you just said process, and I will take you back to that conversation around local government and the grassroots. And I think it's very important because on this show we've had people come on and have some form of educational conversation for people to know better, right? So how do we even say we want to begin to understand and engage more women at that level? Is there a way to begin to hold it from that part first before we start looking at state and federal? Like now it is there, right? It seems that those that are sort of learned, those that have the best interest of the people at heart are not looking at those areas for now. How can we maybe begin to look at that place as our starting point? Is it possible?
It is. Some people are doing it.
Okay.
I know, I do have a friend in a political party who fought to go to the local government level. I mean, if you would look at her, you wonder why would she want to do that? I have another friend who's adamant that she wants to, go for the assembly. She doesn't want to go to the state assembly because that is where her passion is. That's when, for her state, she wants to participate in that level. So you have a few people who understand and want to participate, but really, even when we say on the local level of like the councillors that I just mentioned, we need to overhaul, really have an overhaul of what the local government function is. On the basis of that, when we understand that, the women actually, most women will probably be better off working and going for those posts because we're the best managers. Let's be honest. We're built to manage. So if we get that on that level, it'll be easier to take it up.
Okay, let's quickly go on a very short break. No, Mike, I know you have a question. We'll come back and we'll take the question. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're discussing the topic, can women in the grassroots rise above money politics? And we have Haija, Moriam, Tolani, Animashaun here with us. Now, remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. All right, Norma, you had a question.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what Haija said. I wanted to ask, what obstacles have women faced over the years in just being able, because I know that some women who have made attempts, but for some, I don't want to believe it's just the male factor that is the only challenge that women have had to face. So in your opinion, what are other obstacles that women, apart from mindset and financial capacities and all, what other aspects or obstacles are they likely to experience in pursuit towards grassroots influence?
There isn't, because we tend to be able to sit together and gather people, talk. We know how to do that. To take it further,
So you don't see women themselves as their own obstacles?
We get into that. Yes. No. Let's not kid ourselves. We unfortunately, unlike male, did you know, it's unfortunate. A man sees another man, and they're like, wow, okay, you can do this. They understand each other. They know where they can meet up. They know where they can, okay, if you know how to do this, I can just seal the deal. We don't do that. We don't do that enough. Not that we don't do that. We don't do that enough. We don't know how to see. I try to encourage women. Sometimes, I do it right. Sometimes I don't do it right. But I must be very honest with you. I found the younger ones, male, easier to mentor. Why? Why? No, I'm being very honest.
So in saying easy to mentor now, I mean, that is speaking to some specific challenges, right? What would you say? Is it they're trying to balance their home front with the responsibilities of having to be in politics, or just their
rising
mindset,
up to the challenge?
Right? What would you say it is?
Or our emotions.
It might be emotions. I think, the younger one will look, I think it's the motherly advice that they tend to want to cling on to, so they tend to want to follow it. As a woman, you don't particularly look like, onto another woman like that, especially in the political level. Sorry, but it's unfortunate. So there's a bit of that we're getting over. But it's just, like I keep saying, everything is a process.
Absolutely. Let me even add a bit of context to what you just said, because I remember that when Milola was talking about her journey, going to the experience, because one of us, she ran for the office of, she was vying to be a state House of Rep member. House of Rep member.
Or state.
No, House of Rep member.
Federal.
Federal, yes. So, and of course, she did a lot of grassroots engagement. She went round and all of that. She said, what was shocking to me was, I had even gone and appealed to the women. I said, okay, let's even leave the men out of the picture, and appealed to the women. I mean, again, what you just said, because she had a few people that are, today she's SSG to the governor of Ogun State now.
Yes.
On special duties, SDT or whatever.
SSA.
Yes, yeah,
Special
SSA.
advisor,
Yes, right. But she said, when I was talking to those women, I spoke to them as, from my heart, woman to woman. Okay, let us even leave this men aside. If I get your buy-in, at least I know that, okay, yes, I'm not crazy. I have great ideas. I need to move the state forward, and I know how to. I am competent and all of that. Not even one person, believed enough to say they wanted to. So we were talking earlier, and I mentioned that for me, I would love for us to get to that point where women are sensitized enough to want to say, what, regardless whether competent or not competent, I will put my thumb on a woman because her name is on that ballot box, right? And if we really want to start it, I like what you said. I never thought about it that way, because those roles are less attractive. Right? Those roles, the counselors,
yes,
they are less attractive. They don't. Imagine if we start to just sensitize a lot of women, to start to go into those roles.
Yes.
Then we can from bottom up start to what's it called? Clinch bigger roles. I never thought about it that way. So when you mentioned it, it just clicked that okay, maybe we should just forget about all the ones that people are eyeing and go to the grassroots, because that's the only way.
Where the power
So how can we even get more women to, first of all, understand the importance of why they have to be in some of these positions, and how can we get them to truly support women, not just for like paperwork or whatever. Let us actually go hold a woman's hand and say, you know what, I'm going to put my thumbprint there. Is it possible? You're always smiling.
No, because my experiences are just, no, they're not different. When I wanted to contest, in 2007, I didn't have any woman's support. I didn't. I actually didn't. But you know what? That just made me more determined. So by the time I actually did go for a second time in 2011, and I did get the ticket, I actually ended up surrounding myself with women just to show them. Yes, I didn't get. It's just beyond this. It's us. It's us, and this is about us. And funny enough, I think that's what got me into thinking we need to stick together. We just need to stick. I could have not just decided, well, tough. And I just realized that I just needed us to keep, funding for us, getting us to do things. But sometimes, you do, just like the man will look at another male and say, no, it's not, you can't, it's not for you, you can't do it. And they'll go for another male. But if you do it between a woman and a man, it bites you.
Yeah.
It bites you.
So are there any initiatives?
There are lots of them. Women
because
initiative.
a lot of people don't have that education. They are not aware that things are available that they can begin to use as that platform that they can use to grow or to build that structure that is needed at the grassroots level.
The Nigerian political way. If you were in Europe, you will have different initiatives, associations, NGOs that tend to work very well with different political parties. We do have it. Whether they actually do what they're supposed to do is totally different. But, we're trying to set that and to be, for them to be non-partisan. I can't say I'm non-partisan because it's a lie. So I'm doing it, according to the political party I belong to.
Okay.
So tell us, what are you doing? Engaging women, participation, and encouraging more women to come out.
We've had several, workshops. We tend to do the workshops to get them to, to understand. We have like seminars, because it's not a straight route, write your pen, sit down, do certain things. It's not like that. Because really it's more about, you have to have the passion, because it's not an easy thing. It's either you are passionate about it and, go for it, because you're going to have the obstacles are so much more than you want to, put yourself into. So what we tend to do is just, we gather them, but gathering them at that grassroots level and educating is a huge, humongous task.
So when you engage people in that grassroots level, the first thing that comes out of those people's mouth, whether male or female, is money.
How do you deal?
Now we have landed back on our topic.
that is very much avoided.
Tactically
How
avoiding.
How do we rise above money politics? I know it's general, but me, I want to focus on my gender, because I believe that if you're able to remove women from that equation, a huge number, you said it's very correctly, 51% of voters are women. So imagine if we're able to remove women from that equation, we'll have peace of mind. But tell us, how do we rise above this?
In the last election that I went to monitor in Osun State, I was extremely impressed by the women, especially those that were like, mounting they stood for whatever they were told to do, and they did it well. And really, money did not exchange hands in them. And that's the only thing I can say right now, because I guess it was the passion in them that I saw. It was the passion, And there were lots of them in the different areas. Whichever way you wanted to, it was the passion. And I think if we're able to instill that little, I keep saying it, one step. I really believe in my one step at a time. I sincerely do. Because I've been at this thing I joined politics and my family thought, are you okay?
With this your English that you're speaking.
Yeah, when I got that as well. When I was talking to them, I didn't know when I was talking, so kind of thing. But eventually, once you can relate, I'll tell you somebody, and I'm going to mention her name because I know, and you'll be shocked. Her Excellency Mrs. Tony Saraki, she's one person, she sits with you, speaks the best English you can think of, and then she'll go to your house, sit on your floor, have the conversation. I just keep saying it, she's so good at it. Because she's understood, she knows how to pull it. She's and that's, once you can attract that, you can get people to listen to you, you can get people to do what, you can mentor them. If you tell somebody, I think you can become a counselor. Let's start working on it. And you want to believe it, we can do it. But it just depends on the route.
But there's money involved in all of these things, right? Politics, even from that local council level all the way, is a lot of money. I mean, I know how much Milola's I don't want to hear, but you know what? So how do we, because it's one thing for you to say, okay, you know what, Elsie, I think you can become a local councillor. How do I support Elsie to make sure?
That's where we lack as women.
Okay.
The financial support is where we lack. And to have a purse that we can use is what we want to try and start creating. I'm sure some people supposedly they do it. But to have a purse that we can create, no matter political party, as long as it's a woman.
I was just going to say that.
As long as it's a woman, let's go for it.
I was just going to ask, is it limited to only your political party?
No, we have, you do your political party and then you do whatever, depending on who.
Our gender comes first before every political party. Let's take some.
No. It definitely has to come first.
Yes.
It definitely. No.
Absolutely.
I'm just giving you, it has to be. But because of this, let's be honest, because of this sort of people.
Okay, so this is from Bobby Kennedy in Jalingo. Says the United Kingdom that colonized us are always raising the bar high when it comes to power games. Congrats to Liz Truss, and I see her becoming the next Prime Minister. The Nigerian woman is hardworking, full of capacity and courage. The Nigerian woman needs to take power by force, not by waiting for some percentage from the men that have dominated the space without any change. It's time for the Nigerian women to wake up and get it right, please. The neglect is too much.
Thank you, Bobby Kennedy.
All right, this one is from Daniel Ido, and he says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #race. Can women in grassroots rise above money politics? Women generally have been relegated to the background, which is not fair, and it is totally wrong. They are very effective. Sister Uwa made mention of going to the polls and voting for a woman, whether competent or incompetent in office. The men that are in office from time immemorial, what have they offered us? All right, thank you, Daniel, for your comment.
Okay, so we were chatting and we have lost
Track of
time, as always. But tell us one thing that you would wish to see when it comes to the women in, first of all, with the grassroots that you strongly play in, and generally women in politics. What would be that one thing you are looking out for?
A female governor in Lagos State.
How is that going to be possible?
We don't even have a candidate right now, right?
We don't even have a candidate. So you said something about mentorship earlier. How can we begin to groom women?
We are.
Not just, are we doing that?
I will tell you.
when the time is right.
But generally, what?
Sincerely, I'm a Lagosian, so and I know when I say it, and I know the comments that I get from your grassroots man to your high level man. Man, guys, it's impossible in Lagos State. But you have somewhere like Adamawa that we always think Lagos is, and Adamawa has a female candidate governorship.
Absolutely.
Taraba produced a female candidate governorship at one point in time.
And these are areas that are not even
and supposedly Lagos State.
It's supposed to be a progressive
women,
please.
A more advanced.
That's my own challenge that I really will take on. Not for me. Certainly not. No.
Not for you.
No.
Are you willing to put your money to that work?
Definitely.
She said they're doing it already. She's not just giving you name. Just that you can be sure that the name is not Elsie. At least we know that one for sure. It's not Elsie. That's the only short thing now.
we know it's a woman.
But you know what? I mean, engaging in politics is good. I mean, I like to reiterate that part of, all these bougie people. You think you have influence. I think you should start from, that local council level.
Well, I would like her to give just an overview advice, right, for women, because I know still there are women who are really trying one way or the other. They probably don't have access to somebody like you, but they're trying to see how to get it, maybe in one state somewhere, and they know that they want to do this, but they don't know how to. What would you say to them?
I am saying it too. You have to have the passion.
What if they have the passion, but they don't have...
Because if you have the passion, there's no obstacle.
Find a way.
There's no obstacle. If you have the passion, there isn't. That's the thing. You have to understand, and I'm emphasizing on it because I know some that have started, but just for the curiosity of it, and then just say, no way, I can't.
What's the name of the young lady that was on the show?
Jolupong. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Jolupong. I was going to say that I think, again, just to also add, aside passion, we should start training the mind.
The mind. It's the mind.
It's a mental state.
Yes, it's
so
really,
it's
really, once we start, and that is another thing. If we start the civil education, proper civil education, right from primary school, so that people understand what their duty is, civic duty is about. At that time, you will get yourself to, and we'll hopefully get that into the curriculum again. We have to get that.
And I'm even thinking, primary school, they should scrap head boy, head girl. Just let's produce a leader.
Well,
whoever.
Can I say something? I went through school, and I never had anything like head boy, head girl.
Yes.
Throughout my school.
Yeah. Just produce a student student governor or something for the school. Because you know why? It gives that competition where a girl is not seeing that, okay, because head boy is always reserved.
Maybe we should start having president man, president woman.
Yes. No need for but thank you so much, Haija. We've had a fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
We're hoping that more women honestly can come into this pool where you do not think of selling your vote at all. Instead, you are focused on how we can effect that change, because the power truly will, we wield that power as female voters. Thank you so much, ladies. All right, so before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. When marginalized people gain voice and center their own experiences, things begin changing, and we see this in all kinds of grassroots movement. That is an absolute fact. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.